What's going on, hybrid shooters? It's Jason Vong, and today we'll be doing a comparison between the brand new Sony 24mm f1.4 versus the Zeiss Batis 25mm f2. And because I know people will ask, towards the end of the video, I'll be talking about how I feel about the Sigma Art 24mm f1.4 compared to these two lenses right here. And for my APS-C shooters, I'll let you guys know how I feel about these lenses for your a6000 series camera. And towards the end, I'll give a little update about the BeAlpha event that happened in Los Angeles, as well as a couple of new ones that just got announced. So make sure you stay till the end to see if there's a BeAlpha event happening in a hometown near you. So first, let's talk about the physical differences of these lenses. 24mm versus 25mm. That 1mm difference is very minute. You can barely tell a difference in these two wide shots right here. Weight-wise, the G Master is a little heavier on paper, about 110 grams more than the Batis, but if you're holding them both in real life, the difference is almost insignificant. Both have a 67mm filter thread, which is kinda insane that Sony's managed to keep the barrel size of the G Master the same as the Batis, despite having the wider aperture. Both lenses are capable of close focusing, so you can get really close to objects and make them feel slightly larger than real life. Again, if we're going on paper, the Batis can focus a wee bit closer than the G Master, but it does not exemplify any massive difference. But obviously, the massive difference lies in the aperture. One is an f1.4 lens, and the other is an f2. The G Master is going to give you more of a blur and more of an advantage in low light, but more on this later. Other physical differences. The G Master has a focus hold button, an autofocus manual focus toggle, option for a clickless aperture ring, and the aperture ring itself. The Batis has, well, none of that. Just this OLED display that is dope as fuck. Anyways, the other physical differences is that one is blue and the other is orange. Alright, so we're out right here doing my famous autofocus test, walking back and forth with the 24 1.4 and the 25 f2. Ready? Let's do this. Now, it's important to note that I tested these two lenses on two a7IIIs. That's right, I went out to buy another a7III just to do these types of comparison videos. Anyways, so both of these a7IIIs are on their latest firmware, version 2.0, and just from seeing this test right now, both grab focus really quickly and smoothly, though it does seem like the Batis hold and track focus much better. At first I thought maybe it was cause of the thinner depth of field that the G Master has to work with at f1.4, but stopping down to f2 and f2.8 just to have both lenses on a more even playing ground, the Batis still outperformed the G Master slightly. It did a better job at focus tracking. And yes, both lenses have silent focusing, so you don't need to worry about any sort of autofocus motor noise when shooting videos. Alright, so don't mind us right now, we are apartment shopping, but just to show you guys what it's like to vlog with the 24mm at f1.4. Looking buttery, bokeh-licious, right?
Ooh, I like it.
Very nice.
How if I pop in?
If you pop in, you might be out of focus.
Hi, ow, something poked me.
And this is what it looks like with the Zeiss Batis 25 at f2 if you try to vlog with it. How does it look?
Not as buttery smooth.
Really? But still looks decent, okay?
What if I pop in?
Don't poke yourself again.
Hi.
That's what it looks like.
I'm just not gonna move around so I don't get poked.
So obviously, being f1.4, of course, it would provide slightly creamier and blurrier background than the f2. So for those of you who are obsessed with bokeh, you might want to go with the f1.4. But both lenses are incredibly sharp even at their widest. And I do apologize in advance for the images that I'm about to show you, but here's some close-ups of my face. Yeah, sorry again, but just taking a look at my eye, both lenses did a fantastic job getting it in focus. So if you ever wanted to do any portrait shots, both of these lenses would do a great job. Alright, sunset's about to happen. We're gonna catch some sunset shot on the gimbal with these two lenses.
Ooh.
Again, both lenses are very light, so you can have them on lightweight gimbals, such as the latest Zhiyun Weebill LAB or even the older Crane Plus. And even though the Batis have T-Star coating that helps reduce flare and ghosting, both lenses actually do a great job combating against those issues. But if we have to be picky, the Batis do suffer a bit of chromatic aberration, more so than the G Master, but it's easily correctable in Lightroom. Alright, so now we're testing it out in a lower light environment. This is at f1.4 with the 24G Master. How do I look?
Looks nice. There's like the Stranger Things lights in the back.
Ooh. Alright, so this is with the Zeiss Batis f2. Is there still the nice round balls in the back?
It's not that noticeable, but I see it.
So from what we gathered here in these two shots, the bokeh ball shapes look to be about the same, kind of shaped like a lemon. But if I'm being nitpicky here, upon looking at some of the lemons up close, the G Master does look a bit smoother, while the Batis produce a bit of a textures on theirs with a bit of chromatic aberration on the edge. Anyways, going back to low light really quickly, the f1.4 will be extremely helpful in low light situations. In these shots here, I'm about 6400 ISO with the f1.4 lens and 12,800 with the f2 lens. Just for reference, here's what my eyes can see. Now before we move on to the pricing of the lenses and what I would recommend, I just want to give our friends over at Audible a quick thank you and a shout out. Vivian and I actually have been using Audible to get through the horrendous Los Angeles traffic commute as well as every time we travel now. With Audible, we're able to check out new, cool audiobooks and have them on our phone to take it with us on the go, and it's really helpful in these long plane rides. Right now, for a limited time, new members can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. Go to audible.com/JasonVong or text Jason Vong to 500-500. I didn't know that was an option. Each month, you get 1 credit for an audiobook of your choice and 2 free Audible Originals. Audible Originals are exclusive audio titles created by celebrated storytellers from around the world, as diverse as theater, journalism, literature, and more. I'm gonna be cliche with my recommendation, but my favorite audiobooks comes from the Gary V collections. The 3 that I can recommend is Jab, 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 Right Hook, #AskGaryV, and of course his latest, Crushing It. What I like about his audiobooks is that you get some exclusive commentary that you normally wouldn't be able to get from reading his paperback books. So if you are an up-and-coming entrepreneur, a serious content creator, or just getting into the marketing business, I highly recommend checking out those audiobooks. So sign up now for this exclusive deal. New members get 3 months of Audible for only $6.95 a month, and make sure to visit audible.com/JasonVong or text Jason Vong to 500-500. Now back to our regular programming. And by the way, really thank you guys for supporting the channel as well. I know we've been getting sponsors lately on this channel, but it's also you guys that really just help us give us this opportunity to keep on doing what we love to do on YouTube and provide these helpful information to you guys. Anyways, back to the video. So the pricing. So the Zeiss Batis is about $12.99 versus the 24G Master, which is about $13.98. Now, here's the thing. It's really hard to recommend the Zeiss Batis now. For $100 more and 100 grams more, you're getting a 1.4 lens. And Sony's really outdone themselves with this G Master right here. You see, it used to be about, okay, you're paying a little extra more money for something that has a slower aperture, but you're getting something lighter and better performance. Case in point, when I compared the Zeiss Batis 25 to the Sigma Art 24mm f1.4, even though the Sigma had the faster aperture, I still went with the Zeiss Batis 25 just because it's lighter and the autofocus performance was just way more reliable. But with Sony's release of the 24G Master, this thing is tough to beat. This is a very, very solid lens. So if it had to come down to it, if I had to choose between this over the less expensive Sigma Art 24mm f1.4, I would still go for the 24G Master. I would still shell out that extra $500 just to get something a little lighter and way more reliable in autofocus performance. So this leaves just one more question. When would I recommend the Zeiss Batis 25 f2? Well, I'll say this. If you already have this lens, just be happy with it. It's still a fantastic lens. I love this lens a lot. Because either way, even if you try to sell this lens, you still have to shell out a couple extra $100 just to get the Sony 24 f1.4. I think with that kind of money, you're just better off spending it on a different type of lens, something that you're missing in your arsenal. But if you have neither of these lenses, I really recommend getting the 24G Master. A lot of people that I've come across with at these events that I've been going to, they've been sporting the 24G Master and they've been loving it. But if you're really tight on budget and you're looking for a 24mm or 25mm, if you can get the Batis for a few $100s cheaper, I'd say go for it. All right, just want to thank my APS-C shooters for being patient with me. So let's get into my recommendation for the a6000 series users. So with the 24 G Master or the 25 Batis, if you put it on your crop body cameras, you'll get about a 35mm equivalent on a full frame camera, which is a great focal length for any sort of walk around general street photography or even videos. If you do get I would say this, if you plan on upgrading to a full frame camera sometime soon, then absolutely either of these would make a great choice. But do bear in mind that when you get the 24 G Master, it is pretty front heavy. You're gonna really feel it weighing down on your wrist. With the Batis though, I actually have this on a 5100 and it's actually not too bad. Yes, it's still a little front heavy and it's gonna tip a little bit, but it's really not that bad. However, if you're planning on sticking to the APS-C ecosystem, there's a lens that I would actually highly recommend over those two, and that is the Sony Zeiss 24mm f1.8. In my opinion, a super underrated lens. This is gonna give you a very similar field of view to this, and this is designed specifically for APS-C. Just look how much smaller and lighter it is compared to the G Master lens. This lens right here is slightly pricey. I think B&H is selling it for about $1,100, but if you can pick up this lens for about, I don't know, $800 to $900, it's well worth it over the G Master just for that smaller form factor. And this is something that I personally used a lot back when I shot with the a6500 almost exclusively before the a7III or the a7R III came out. And if the new APS-C body comes out, this is something that I'm gonna grab to use with over something like this. But let me know in the comments down below if you want me to make a comparison between the 24 1.8 versus the 24 1.4. Okay, so let's quickly recap the Sony Samy's BeAlpha event that happened in Los Angeles. Vivian and I had 4 different video workshops, all of which sold out online, which we are just extremely thrilled. We never imagined that would have happened. And we really want to thank to those of you who came out to listen to what we have to say, and hopefully you guys learned something new from us. And don't worry, for those of you guys who missed out, I'll let you know any future events that are gonna happen again in LA. And these types of events are awesome because not only is it supported by Sony and your local camera store Samy's, but they host a bunch of free workshops that you can learn a lot from your favorite content creator, as well as network with fellow photographers and videographers. On top of that, you get some exclusive discounts that you would not get anywhere else. That's why I nabbed another a7III just because of the bundles and rebates that they were throwing together with the a7III. Uh-oh, what happened here?
It's not me, it was you.
What happened here?
Not me, it was not me.
a7III purchase. And of course, there are awesome prizes that were being given out. A couple of 50 1.8s, a couple of 85 1.8s, and even the new Sony Tough Card. And on the last day, someone actually won a Sony a7III. So again, I highly recommend you guys check it out. I'll let you know when another LA event is going to happen. Aside from that, a couple more BeAlpha dates just got announced. January 24th will be in San Diego. February 20th will be Vancouver, BC. All right, Canada. And March 24th, Salt Lake City. So if you guys live anywhere near those cities, I would highly recommend you guys get your tickets right now because those go out really quickly. I got some DMs this past week asking me about sold out events. Just keep checking. They might release more tickets, but unfortunately they do have to cap out the event because of fire code regulations. At least that's what I think. But the best way to stay on top of that is just to keep checking the registration website. And for those of you who still are waiting for those BeAlpha events that are gonna happen in a hometown near you, make sure you check out the Alpha Universe website, as well as their Facebook, Sony Alpha Universe. They have an events tab that you can look at to see when the next event will happen. And that's all the updates that I have for the BeAlpha event. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.